And oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, we have to click OK that we're staying, that we're okay with the recording. So that is good. And I hope everybody stays.
Yeah, and when I set it up, you guys will not be on the recording, and it'll just be Heather's screen. So
Okay.
don't worry about your faces.
Okay, because yeah, usually this year we're just going to see the top of heads anyway. When I do my regular online, that's what we just have everybody turn off their cameras because there's no point with to see everybody's the roots of their head. All right, so welcome. I'm curious how many have done Zentangle before, and I can't see anybody raising their hands in the library. I'm just curious online. Has anybody tried it before, seen it?
There's about two here in the room who've done
Okay.
it.
They're celebrating their 20th year this year. It's like the best kept secret ever. So it's just really, really neat. Okay, so let me get started. Let me just some, I guess, housekeeping. And that would be number one, you will either get for those online, I will put a link in the chat at the end. So don't worry about taking notes or anything. I will have the 8 steps to the method. And and then since we are recording it, I'm sure if you wanted to have a recording, yeah, I would just ask to just for those that are here or those that are associated with the library, for that use, and then also for the patterns that we're going to do. So that way don't worry about taking notes or anything like that. Now, the first step. And I'll tell a little bit of the history and stuff as we go and as we're tangling. Before I get to the first step, let us look at what you have available. So you should have some kind of paper. I have, back that up. This is an official Zentangle tile. They're about 3.5 inches square. This is how they started it. They now have all kinds of different shapes and different colors and stuff like that. So you should have something like that. That's the backside, and a pen of some sort that is maybe a fine liner. It's one of those. It doesn't really matter, but something that creates a nice fine line is helpful. A pencil, a something to smudge the pencil with. We usually use a tortillon, which is just wound up paper, or I recommend a Q-tip, and I brought a Q-tip with because I think that's what you guys have, so I want to use it as well. And that's all the tools that you need. And I do like to start off with an assessment, which is funnier in person. But if you would on like a scrap piece of paper or on the back of your tile, if you would do this, I'll make sure I'm centered here. A straight line or a lowercase L. And then if you would write, this also is a good test of your pens. Mine, I'm getting really close to this one being done. An S. And then a C. And a little O. O for orb. And a dot. So if you have successfully completed that, then you can successfully do Zentangle. I did not ask, and it is one of those, if you want to put it, in the chat or whatever, but I'm curious how many cannot draw.
You.
I'm going to go ahead and mute. Oh, good, Jenna. Because I cannot draw stick people to save my life, but because this is what the Zentangle method is based on, or some combinations thereof of these, just to let you know, because it kind of threw me for a loop. I'm like, wait, that's not quite that's not one of those 5 elemental strokes, but it's okay. We can do combinations of them. All right, so I just wanted to get us started, get us writing with that. So now you can turn it over. The first step in the Zentangle method is, okay, we got some, we have some cans and cannots draw in the chat online. All right, so the first step is gratitude and appreciation. And and you don't have to do, you don't have to do all of these steps. You can pick and choose whatever you want to do. But I do like to start, at least, for this Zentangle Essentials class, with doing something for gratitude and appreciation. So if you would play along, we're gonna do two like deep breaths. First one, as you inhale, and I'll count the inhale and the exhale. As you inhale, I want you to gather whatever minutia, nonsense, negativity, other bad things, anything that's just annoying, and gather it up in your head. And then what we'll do is we'll hold for a minute, and you can address it as you wish. And then as you exhale, you can release it as you wish, and I'll give some ideas. All right, so go ahead and inhale, and just gathering up that nonsense in your head, all the stress, all the everything. 3, 4, hold it for 2, and then exhale and just release it. And if you want to set it on fire, flush it down the toilet, transport it out into space, however you choose to get rid of it, we'll just do that now in our mind's eye. All right. Now we've cleaned house a little bit. So the next step in my mind is now we're open for gratitude and appreciation. So on same idea, but on the inhale, think of something that made you smile, whether it was something, hopefully something that somebody did for you. Maybe it's something that you did for somebody else, and just think on that. And then when we hold, when we hold and release, you can just give a nice mental thank you, and appreciate whatever it is that happened. So go ahead and inhale, 2, 3, 4, and we'll hold it. And exhale, giving thanks and appreciation, 3, 4. All right, and that's about as serious as I get. All right, so one of the things that I have incorporated, I think just because it's the way I am, is I like to incorporate laughter and fun and not taking myself too seriously, because life is just much better that way. So we'll have fun. All right, next step is 4 corner dots in or on your paper, and you decide how far in you want to go, but we're going to do lightly with the pencil. So pencil, lightly, 4 little corner dots, like so, if you can see that. Next, we're going to create a border, and you can make straight lines, you can make curvy lines, you can make a combination. It's completely up to you. I like to make mine a little wavy to add challenge. And you can miss the dots too, it's okay. One of the, if not the biggest philosophy in the Zentangle is that there's no such thing as a mistake. We call them happy accidents, as Bob Ross did, if you're familiar with Bob Ross. Or we also will call them, and I have my eraser here because we also don't use erasers, occasional opportunities presented suddenly, or outstanding opportunities. I have different words written down because other people come up with cool things, but there's just no such thing as a mistake. So you will find me, if things go awry, there's always a way to course correct. And it's a really good, it's almost like a life lesson type of thing. There's a lot of analogies and things that we can take from Zentangle and apply, but we'll get into more of that later. All right, next, we got the border. Next is the string. The string can be whatever you want. It divides up this space. I have a whole class on string theory. And if you imagine for a moment, and of course I don't have it handy. Oh yes, I do. Here, I'll use this one. If you imagine for a moment, just to give you an idea, I have a string and I'm gonna untie the knots. And I'm putting this string down. Oh, and there's one shape. Think I can do it again the same way? Probably not. Oh, there's another shape. And so it's whatever ends up happening, and that's perfectly fine. Today though, we'll all do the same, so that way it helps with a number of things. mostly the number of divisions that we have. So if you would, from the left side of your border, around the center, still lightly with the pencil, we're going to start there, and I'm going to go up to the center of the top, center-ish, and I'm going to come down center-ish to the bottom, and then to the center of the right side. And if you put your tile on the make it a diamond, we've created a Z or an N, whichever way you want to look at it. Okay, now you can put the pencil down for now. We're done with that for a while. And grab your pen. And the way I designed this class is, it goes with the name Zentangle Essentials. So while we are learning the method, also learning some of the essential techniques, some of the essential concepts within Zentangle, and the most common one. So that way, if you watch somebody's video and they start talking about auraing, you'll know what they mean. And that's what we're going to work on first. So this first tangle, you get to pick whatever section you want to pick. Completely up to you. There's no right and there's no wrong. Or actually, the only wrong is not doing it at all. But we're here and we're doing it, so it's all right. All right, and then, well, which one do I want to pick? I'm going to pick this one. Okay. So we're only going to work within this pencil line. And the pencil line ends up kind of becoming, it ends up disappearing in the whole pattern. So crescent moon starts off with C-shaped curve lines. Well, I think I'll start here where it's flat-ish. And so along the edge, you're going to do like this. So it's just a C-shaped curve line along the edge. Leave some space and do another one. If you come up to a corner, you don't have to do it this way. Like I could have, put the C shape here. But we're just going to kind of have these going around the outside. Again, leaving some space. Ooh, this one. Yeah, see, if you come to a corner, then it's like, okay, make a decision. I think this one I will do like that. And leave room for one little one in the middle. All right. And I'll always give some pause just to make sure that everybody is with me. The next step we're going to do, and there will be time you can go back and touch things up and stuff like that. So I don't want anyone to stress out. We're going to fill these in. That is the next thing we're going to do. I am though going to grab a better pen for that. All right. I don't know where my oh, there it is. Okay. So if you're new to this world, which I was new to this world, they have, and if you end up really liking it, you can get different nib sizes. I'm using it's not quite the smallest one. It's almost the smallest one. But they have bigger ones, so that way for filling in purposes, it's a little nicer. Now, let me mention something, because I mentioned the word course corrections and that there are no such thing as a mistake. But if you end up like, oh, as I'm looking, I'm like, well, gosh, I've left a lot of space here. Well, here's one thing you can do is you can, with your pen, let me just extend it a little bit further. And especially because we're filling in, this gives us a great opportunity. Nobody knows. There we go. If I didn't tell you. So just filling these all in all the way around. I like to trace around first, and even if I'm using the 01, which I do a lot. So that way I avoid as many oopses as possible. Can make that one a little bit bigger. All right. Pause for a sec. And see, maybe dig up a different, maybe dig up a different pen for myself. Let's see, how are you? I tend to wear these down right to right to the to the metal. Okay. Okay, that's better. All right. So if you have all of yours filled in, the next thing we're going to do is what we call an aura. And to aura is really, it's to outline. Okay, that's even worse. I tested it. There we go. And you decide the distance. And what we're going to do is we're going to go around, and we're starting on the string line and going back to the string line. But there is a point where you have to decide, and let me go this way so that way I can show you. But basically, we're just going around each one. One at a time. And then we keep going around. And if you can make it back to that string line, great. But if not, so like right here, it's like, no, I'm not going to fit 2 lines in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm auraing that part, and I'm going to stop right here and finish the aura over here, like that. And then continue around. And then what we do is we just we continue. Well, here's another one that was really close together there. We continue till there's no space left in the center. Well, okay, we'll try to get 2 in here. And if you go over the same line again, it's okay. And then sometimes, so in the center, I'll get like this where I'm going to have one continuous line that just, I call it bouncing. That's what it feels like, because it's just like pinging off of all of these little corners. And like I said, you just keep auraing until you have no more space. And I didn't mention something else that we like to do. If you notice, I'm turning my paper, turning my tile as I work. One of the things we like to do is keep our hand comfortable. So there's a natural curve. You have the heel of your hand is here, and there's that natural curve. So what I like to do a lot is just turn the tile, and then I can keep that natural curve going. Oop, there we go. And then there's a little bit of consistency, which is always nice. Now, if you end up with little gaps that have enough room to fill something in, you can do that. Like usually down in the corners, I'll have something, but this time I constructed this one a little differently. But here I'm going to just do a little V aura down here on the other side, just because. Maybe here I can fit something. Yeah. And that is our crescent moon. Now, the little bit of challenge is because, you know, everybody has a similar size paper. Oh, that's nice, Jenna. I see you just held it up a little bit. Similar size paper, but each section is a little bit different. So that's why I like to pause, and everybody, you know, has a different speed that they go. And like I said, there will be, you know, time to touch things up if need be. But I will just go ahead to the next one, so that way you can just, you know, leave wherever you're at, and then we'll move on to the next one. And that way, you know, if you finish early, then you can always go back and touch things up if that is the case. All right, next one. Again, so now I got 3 spaces you get to decide. I guess I'm going, let's see. And this is my biggest thing is I was like, oh, well, let me decide. It's going to take me 10 minutes. Just kidding. So pick one. And let's see. If I do this. No, I want to do that. Since I know what we're doing, I'm still having trouble deciding which way do I want to go. Okay, I'm apparently I've decided I'm doing the outer corners first, just because. All right, this one is called Halabow, and it's a tangle. It's also a technique, and it's also the last name of Maria's daughter. Maria's the co-founder of Zentangle, Maria Thomas. So it's Maria Thomas and Rick Roberts that created this. All right, and I will tell you more about that in a moment. So this one, pick a direction, any direction, and draw a line from one side of the pencil line to the other side. We're only working within whatever area you decided to work in. And then essentially, we're going to aura that, but you want to have a bit of a distance, you know, maybe like, oh, sort of a pen width-ish, like that. And if you're working on a smaller area like I am, well, it's just one of those, it's not going to matter. Because we're going to do some shading and we need to be able to have room. So we do that. Now, here's the technique. Halabow is the art of drawing behind. So here's how we do that. I pick another direction, and we're going to do a line, and I'm going to draw it underneath this board. Actually, it was Molly's husband, Nick, I think his name is Nick Halabow, is a woodworker. And so the inspiration for this was a pile of boards. So I end up calling these boards. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to draw the line. Then when I come to here, we're not going to cross the line. That is a no-no. We don't cross lines here. Well, we do sometimes. I take that back. But not for this one. And then I'm going to essentially air draw. I'm going to continue it across, put my pen down on the other side, and continue. So like this, picking up the pen and keeping it moving as if I'm drawing, but I'm not, and put it down on the other side and continue. And that is what Halabow is. And then we're going to aura that. So we're going to make another board here. I'll make my other ones thinner. And this, you just turn your paper, you put these whatever direction you want to put them. And continue working behind. Now, sometimes, and I have done this on accident before, where it's like, oh, I'll just do these two and then continue. And so the reason that I say it's one continuous thought. So my thought is to go from here to here, because what it just makes it adds like continuity or something. There is just some kind of crazy magic that happens when we do this. And actually, I should put a little bit of ink right there, because that would be in line. But yeah, sometimes they end up just slightly disjointed looking, and so that's why we do it that way. Now this one, however many you want to put in is fine. This one is nice. We have some nice open space here. What I like to do in the open space sometimes, and I'll do it today because I feel like it, and you don't have to if you don't want to do this part. I just like to put some kind of decoration in the open space. So I'll just put a little dot where it fits. like that. This one I also like to call more of a free form because it's random. This, the crescent moon, we spaced, it's the same or similar shape. We've spaced it around the outside. We've done the aura-ing, so it's a little bit more structured in my mind. Where this, there's a lot of randomness going on, which is neat. And minding my time. Okay. Next, and let me just check one thing here. I'll say, and Jennifer, if you're still in the room there, if anyone has questions or anything, feel free to bump in and let me know too. All right, so next, we have 2 spaces left. That makes the decision, should make it even easier. All right, so this one is called Printemps, and it's French for spring. And this is one that is kind of a combination of things. So we're starting off with a dot, and then we're going to come off of that dot into a C shape. If I'm speaking Zentangle-ese is what I call it. And we're going to continue around and around as long as you want to, and make a spiral.